say it's 7 o'clock Pacific. That means it's time for PR Masters. I want to thank everyone for being here. We've been saying hello as folks have been arriving, but it's so wonderful to see all your faces. This evening, we have an exciting agenda in front of us. As PR Masters, we meet once every month, and we try and pack a lot into a single meeting. We will have a couple of speakers. We have opportunities for feedback and for fast feedback and evaluation. And this evening, our Toastmaster is Fred. Fred, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about the theme of the meeting?
Thank you, Matthew. I am Fred Bergeron. I am your Toastmaster this evening, and our theme for tonight is membership gold. And we have two excellent speakers you'll be hearing about in a few minutes talking about our theme. So I'm going to move on to our functionaries by calling on our general evaluator, Adam Doss, who's going to explain the role of the general evaluator. Take it away, Adam.
Thank you, Fred. As the general evaluator, I get to give everyone an assessment of how the meeting went, the overall vibe of the meeting, areas what went well, what didn't go well, some of the areas of improvement, and also evaluate the speech evaluators. That's also a part of my role. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Looking forward to it. Back to Fred.
Okay, and on to our timer is Josh here, Josh Welch. Okay, if no Josh here, I'm going to need a timer.
That could be timer if you need.
Okay, Jim, if you could please, and explain to everyone your role as timer, please.
Okay, every speech in the meeting will have a certain time set, and I just need to get my backgrounds loaded up and ready to go so that I have them available. And what will happen is when you reach your minimum time, my background will turn green. When you get halfway between your minimum and maximum time, my background will turn yellow. When you get to your maximum time, my background will turn red. And you will then have 30 seconds to wrap up before you're officially considered over time. And I'll give a report at the end of the meeting on how everyone did.
Thank you, Jim. And to confirm, both Maria and Bill's speeches are 5 to 7 minutes, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Bill and Maria?
Yes.
Thank you. And now we're going to move on to our group feedback leader, Maureen Zeba, who's going to explain her role. Take it away, Maureen.
Thanks, Fred. I feel a little bit like I'm in Star Wars with the title group feedback leader. Tonight, I'll be using the Mentimeter as my tool, and it's a way for us to get feedback from the audience in a different way than our verbal evaluations. So at different points in the meeting, I'll be drawn in and dropping links in the chat, and you'll have the opportunity to write words into an online form, and that will generate an image. There'll be multiple opportunities to do that. And then at other points in the meeting, you'll be able to talk about what the meeting's like and how you're experiencing it. Thank you very much, Fred.
Thank you. And has Joe Dudman showed up yet? If no Joe, we will need an evaluation.
I'm here.
Sorry, okay. Well, Joe, you are Maria's evaluator. Please tell us about our speaker. If you need her intro, I can send it to you in chat. I also emailed
I have it.
Yep.
I have it. Yeah.
Please tell us your role and tell us about the speaker, please, Joe.
Okay. I'll be evaluating Maria's speech tonight. I'll be looking for how effective it is and how engaging it is. Maria Mendoza, or Tracy, as her family and friends call her, is a passion and purpose-driven individual. She joined her home club in January 2020 to rebuild her confidence and face her fears. Late last year, she joined PR Masters, this club, because of her passion for continuous learning, love for PR, marketing, and events, and have fun while learning. Her passion is fueled by her purpose to continue to offer her time and skills to be of service. And just recently, she faced her fears and volunteered to deliver a 1-hour program to an online class of 7-year-old students and to a combined class of online students and 2 classes inside their respective classrooms on awareness about the importance of digital safety and digital citizenship for kids. The title of her speech, "The Gold is in the Personal Touch," does not only apply to Toastmasters membership, but applies in all aspects in life, because when we apply that personal touch, we discover the gold in life. Maria Mendoza, "The gold is in the personal touch." Maria Mendoza.
Do what you do so well that they will want to see it again and bring their friends. Toastmaster of the evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening and good morning from the other side. My speech, "The gold is in the personal touch," relates to the quote that I just mentioned earlier from Walt Disney. Do what you do so well that they will want to see it again and bring their friends. What do you think guests and members want to see and feel again? What makes a guest come back? What makes a member stay? If you have an idea and something that you have in mind, I would love to see that in the chat. If you could type in your ideas and suggestions of how we can make our guests come back and members stay. And whatever is in your mind and whatever you've been doing already in your home club, it's all correct because you were able to maintain your members and have guests attend. Yes, that's warm welcome from Press. Education works, sense of belonging, all of it, all of your suggestions and ideas are all correct. There are so many reasons why guests come back and members stay. And as for my observation, guests come back and members stay because of one great thing, aside from all the suggestions and ideas. It's the amazing experience. It's the amazing experience that they were able to experience during the meetings or during events that we have conducted. So why? Why amazing experience? What makes an experience amazing? I have top 3 from my own experience. And again, there are many different reasons, but let me share what from my end. First, the welcome feeling. When I attended my first meeting with PR Masters, I felt the welcome feeling when everyone was greeting for me as the first timer. And it's like, it's my second time already. The second one is I was encouraged to get engaged and involved, wherein it's not like my first time as well. And the third one, and the most important thing that stood out for me, is the gold. The gold is the personal touch. That's why the title, "The Gold is in the Personal Touch." Why personal touch? I just remembered the first PR Master I attended, there was a personal touch from Maureen. She engaged to me through LinkedIn. She made me feel special and valued for attending the meeting. And making them, she gave an extra special sprinkle that potion in there. That's why I've been a member now. So making them feel, or making me feel important and value my time, was really, really grateful for me. I've experienced personal touch not only from that, but also from Marcy by helping me out in my speech, by all the other attendees and members of PR Masters, why I remained here given the time difference. So how can we sprinkle more of the personal touch to our members and our guests? Here are some ways that I can suggest that we are doing in our home club. And I hope it will be valuable for you as well. Though I know you guys are already doing it. And one is we provide a guest thank you e-card whenever we finish the meeting. So we send it to them on a personal level. We don't post the thank you card in our page, but we send it directly to them. And we make them feel special by, you would see the reaction from this thank you e-card. So the guest will feel more special by doing that. Not only for the guest that attended the first time, we also give our thank you e-card to our guest role players who have given their extra time and effort to do a certain role for our club. The third one would be us posting our post-meeting poster, wherein we also thank all the, not just all the attendees, but also the role players of the members of our club. So for them to feel that extra special as well. In addition, we also have our congratulatory posts in our page. So we always give, because we do the competition of best speaker, table topics, and best evaluator, wherein we do make them feel more valued and showing the world that they've done an exemplary work doing their speech. So one good thing about this, when we've done it, one of our team member reposted it, and we got great reactions, 161 and 44 comments. That is a plus for our group, for our club, because we engage people and people would know about us. So that's another good thing. That not only the personal touch, but it adds on value to our club as well. And another one would be new member welcome e-card. Whenever we have a new member, we post them, we let people know that we have new members. We have their photos there so that it will be more personalized for them, and they would spread it and share it again to their connections. And fifth would be the most important thing for me, the most personal touch by far, is by sending a birthday card to our members and as well to our previous guests from our previous meetings. So if you could see, these are two different birthday cards, wherein one is for the member, one is for the previous guest, and also making them feel special and valued. And also, we could go and give congratulatory posts, wherein we celebrate their milestones by their pathways, celebrating completion of their pathways, congratulatory of being the new executive committee of the club, and other more. And lastly, we could also provide holiday e-cards. Holiday e-cards to be personalized with our branding, with our own club branding as well, wherein we remember them during the special occasion. That would also make them feel special. So just as always, feeling valued by anyone is the best thing we can always provide. And showing that we value each guest and members, we always need to have the personal touch to go the extra mile. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you for that wonderful speech, Maria, and on to our Mentimeter Master, Maureen, to request feedback.
Thank you, everyone. Maria, lovely job. There is a link in the chat to poll number 1. And the question is, what was memorable about Maria's speech? When you click that link, it will pull up a page and there'll be 3 entry options. Secretly, you can do more than 1 entry if you want. And that is going to populate a screen that I will share in a moment. And I'm going to share screen. The nice thing about this is at the end, I can give this to Maria as a follow-up, and she can look at it and review and remember what the feedback was that was given and see those positives. I laughed because I did this last month and I looked at mine and I saw one that was grainy. And that little word was like, oh, I better check. I was using a new technology and it helped me to know that it was a little bit grainy on the screen. Feeling valued, personal touch, warm, her smile, reminders to recognize, enthusiasm, personable, genuine. Let me know when a minute is up, but keep entering those words for Maria. Apparently I have sprinkle potion. That's what my walk away is. I need more sprinkle potion. Actionable.
Okay, so I didn't realize I needed to time a minute for you right there. So it's probably been about a minute now.
Thank you. And we will do this again for Bill after his speech. Back to you, Fred.
Thank you. And Jim, could you please give us a report on Maria's speech, please?
Maria spoke for 7 minutes and 56 seconds.
Thank you. And now on to our second evaluator, Mega, who kindly stepped in as Bill's evaluator. Mega, could you please introduce Bill?
Thank you, Fred. It's my pleasure to evaluate Toastmaster Bill today. He's presenting a speech, a pathway speech project, Connect with Storytelling. So wherein the requirement is to present an established story or a story about a speaker's life or a fictional tale of the speaker's own creation. Bill has experienced many hats in Toastmasters, many years and hats in Toastmasters amongst a few clubs. Each club has had unique aspects that help discover everyone's leadership gold. Today, Bill is going to talk about how can a club be more intentional about mining this membership gold. He will look back at nearly a decade in Toastmasters to shed light on some strategies. Mining gold amongst members, Bill Maher, mining gold amongst members.
There is gold and there them hills. I think a lot about that kind of lifestyle and how intentional people were to go and to find the best place and to talk to people to find out where they could find the gold that they were looking for. I think about that when I think about Toastmasters, because every person who comes to a Toastmasters meeting knows that there is speaking involved. And they know that they want to improve in some fashion, or at least see maybe, could this be a good place for me to fit in and improve in my particular leadership and speaking skills. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I've been in Toastmasters for almost 10 years. And I kind of, in a way, fell into, by accident, the club that I consider my home club, New Horizons Toastmasters. You've probably heard of us a couple of times through the past few months, years, because there's a lot of people that come through our club that do very well in the district contest. Ooh, there's district contest going on. Oh boy, that's exciting. But how do we get there? And how do we go and find this gold and bring it into our lives and share our gold with other people? When I first went to New Horizons Toastmasters Club, we met in a little room at the back of a cafe in Bridgeport Village, and it was crowded. And I knew why. There were good people that were leading that club. Marvin Mitchell, James Wantz, Phyllis, the people that you may know or may have heard of, strong individuals with strong leadership skills and strong speaking skills. And I knew that when they came to that meeting, they wanted to create a good meeting. They wanted to create a meeting of value and of fun and a time where people could walk away and remember what was happening and what was learned at the meeting. But boy, they set the bar high. When I got a chance to listen to some of these people speak, I thought, I don't know. I'm just not sure that I'm going to be this kind of caliber. But I took the chance. Why did I take the chance? Well, because these people had gifts. You can see that there. Gifts in speaking, gifts in leading, gifts in networking, gifts in relationships, and those gifts were to be shared. And that's exactly what they did. They were enabling us by modeling and by explaining how their gifts are shared and how they could help each of us. And I accepted those gifts, and that was wonderful. Another aspect that really helped me in my journey through Toastmasters was these people were original. They were very original people. We meet at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, just on this side of crazy for a lot of people. 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, are you nuts? A little bit. It does help. But one of the advantages that I found in that particular time is it's a time where people can commit to on a more regular basis because it doesn't extend their day, it doesn't ruin their weekend, and you're pretty much up by then anyway. And we have a variety of people of different languages, cultures, experiences in speaking and not speaking and leading. All of them have different gifts and different goals, and we come together to help each of us improve and become better. And with all that diversity and all that originality, and sometimes because of some of our personalities, there is a lot of laughter. We enjoy ourselves. We can laugh at ourselves and at each other. It's always fun to do that too. But that laughter is such a refreshment to come when you are thinking about public speaking, one of the most stressful situations that people encounter. But yet we make it lighthearted. We make it a safe place. We make it a place where you can go ahead and laugh at yourself and learn from yourself and learn from others. But lastly, I think the goal that we share with each other is determination. I have met many, many people through Toastmasters, and they're all a certain level of determination to achieve a particular goal. Maybe it's a particular event coming up. Maybe it's a particular promotion they want to achieve. Maybe it's just feeling more comfortable around people and meeting new people. Whatever it is, they all have their own determination, which is shared among ourselves. As I look back at my nearly 10 years in Toastmasters, primarily at New Horizons Toastmasters, I think of the goal. I think of the goal that has been shared with me and by me through the years. The gifts, the original individuals, the laughter, the determination, all of that comes together to really create a unique experience that Toastmasters can provide on a regular basis. When you think about your club, when we think about PR Masters, we must think about what we can bring, the gold, the gifts, the laughter, the originality that we can bring to this club. And by sharing that, we can also take that with others with us and have those strong takeaways that we can then apply to our lives. When we come back the next time around and we can think about how we've applied those and learn something new, even if it's just a little bit each meeting. It is a genuine joy to be able to have amongst me and amongst the people and other Toastmasters, these jewels, this gold, this richness that we can mine on a regular basis. Next time we think about Toastmasters, next time we're at a meeting, think about the gold that you bring and the gold that you take away. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Bill, for that wonderful speech. Jim, if you could put 1 minute on the clock so that Maureen can lead us in the Mentimeter feedback.
Thank you again. The link is in the chat, everyone, and I will pull up the screen in a moment. In your entries for Bill, what was memorable about Bill's speech? Remember, you can answer more than 3 times. Sometimes it's hard to limit ourselves. Add those words in. Hopefully that link is correct. Not populating. Oh, I have the wrong one on. Just one sec, Bill. There it is. Imagine that. Multnomah Falls. People
that's gonna
matter. Disappearing. Nuggets of wisdom. Inspiring. Thank you, Jim. And back to you, Fred.
Thank you. And Jim, please give us a timer's report on Bill's speech.
Okay, I actually momentarily forgot I was timing when he started. So I may be off by a few seconds, but his time that I counted was 5 minutes and 27 seconds.
Thank you, Jim. And now I'd like to turn things over to our president, Matthew, who will lead us in some club business discussions. Take it away, Matthew.
Thanks so much. It seemed appropriate in this meeting where we're talking about membership, where we're talking about gold, to chat a little bit about our own membership. It's time for renewals of membership. And it's also time for us to ask some of our guests to consider becoming members. Each of you should have received in the last day an invoice from our treasurer inviting you to pay your dues. Another option is to grab an officer and work with them to help you to submit your dues, but we would like very much to get a tally of folks who will be continuing as members into the coming year. Most especially, we want to invite you, our members, and our guests to help us to plan what are the kinds and types of things that we as Toastmasters, that we as PR masters want to share, want to learn about, want to discover together in the coming year. I'll take you down a brief trip on memory lane. In this club, we haven't been chartered very long, less than a year. But in that short time, we have covered a wide variety of topics. We've covered things like how to use LinkedIn for PR. We've talked about tools like Canva and even had a workshop on Canva. We've talked about best practices in PR. Fred, our Toastmaster this evening, talked about photography. We have had sessions, let's see here, Bill, who just talked about PR Gold. He also talked with us about his journey in attracting students to the arts, you know, using PR essentially for good, right? We've had Marcy, our greeter, talking about how to use video. We have, let's see here, David Shehorn is somewhere on my screen, and he chatted with us about open houses. We've talked about how to use PR to grow membership. We've had retrospectives on conferences and how PR was used to help those be successful. We've had a session on virtual open houses. We've had opportunity to talk about social media and social media graphics. And our last two speeches really are a great segue into the larger goal of this particular chapter, which is we want to find moments of PR gold. So I would encourage all of you who are current members to grab that link and sign up. And if you are a guest, to consider joining us.
Thank you, Matthew. And they will now move on to our Dear PR Masters leader, Jennifer. Take it away, Jennifer.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Dear PR Masters is a segment of PR Masters meeting similar to Dear Abby, where I'll present a letter that is usually a PR related problem, and then I will ask for people to give some feedback about it. So here is the letter. Dear PR Masters, I am the VP of Public Relations for fairly new Toastmasters Club and really need your help. We have existed for about a year and have a strong commitment from most members, but some have indicated they might leave since it is renewal time. Could you give me some ideas to promote our club in order to persuade current members to stay and new members to join? Thank you for any nuggets of wisdom you can give me. Signed, Grasping for Golden Opportunities. All right, if you have some suggestions for grasping for golden opportunities, please raise your hand and give us some ideas here so we can help out grasping. Anybody raising their hand? I can't see. Marcy.
Dear Grasping, you have shared with us a great challenge. I think that in this busy world that we're living in, we need to create excitement in your club. When people visit, they want to know that they're going to have a moment of connection and that it's just not going to be another dry evening or morning. You want to get some life into them because we've lived too long a little bit isolated and we need enthusiasm and energy and those nuggets of gold to be dropped into our lives so that when people come away from your meeting, they're going to go, I want to connect with those people again. I want to have that engagement. I'm learning when I'm hanging out with those people. That's all that I have panned out of the water today. Just a few little nuggets, but I see that it will make a difference. I hope you caught them in your pan, dear Grasping.
That was wonderful, Marcy. Thank you for all the descriptive things with gold related. Definitely love our theme today. Does anyone else have a suggestion for grasping for golden opportunities here? I don't see hands. I'm looking. Matthew.
Yeah, thank you so much. Dear Grasping, I think that it's important to get people to think holistically about their goals in Toastmasters. The Toastmasters program in Pathways definitely has very clear ideas about a progression in education, about opportunities to learn in areas that are passionate or important to you. And Toastmasters also presents us with opportunities to grow as leaders, to host meetings and manage groups and to work together toward a common cause. But I also think that there are specialty clubs that people can belong to. PR Masters is one such club that maybe fill another bucket for you, give you an opportunity to help a club elsewhere that needs assistance with PR. Maybe it's part of your own professional journey as an opportunity to grow. And maybe it's part of your personal mission to share with other people. That is one of many reasons why I belong to several clubs that I belong to, is each one gives me an opportunity to fill my own bucket and move toward goals that I have professionally and personally.
Thank you so much. Wow, that's a great overview of the program, definitely. Does anyone else have a suggestion for grasping golden opportunities? Still looking for hands. David.
Search engine optimization. Get your website so that it pops up early. There's some great tools out there with Google Analytics. George Marshall from District 57 has a very good write-up on search engine optimization. Free Toast has a link to a lot of different things on search engine optimization. One of the simple things is change something every week. Google goes out there and searches your website, and what it looks for is change. If you have a change, they will look at your site again. So make a change, at least one change every week on the first public-facing page. It's a simple thing to do. It's not highly technical. Well, Google Analytics is a little technical, but the rest of it is just putting the information out there and making it pop out a little bit, learning about which fonts to use and why you should use a font header, and little things like that. But it's important to know the basics, and it probably doesn't take anybody with a lot of experience or computer knowledge to improve most sites. Back to you.
All right, thank you for that. Appreciate the technical information there. All right, Mr. Toastmaster, do you want me to end this segment, or I see your hand up? I can't hear you.
You're muted.
You have hands up
Listen,
for
I
Adam,
won't-
for Bill, for
I will
Fred.
decline because other people had their hand up before me.
Oh, okay. All right, I wasn't sure if you.
One more. Yeah.
One more?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask Adam then.
I just want to mention Jim had his hand up before me, so.
Oh, I just have my hand up so that people can see the timer at the top left of the video.
Okay. Okay. In that case, I can go ahead. Kind of piggybacking off of what Matthew touched on regarding tying it to member goals. And my advice may not be universally applicable, but a lot of the Toastmasters clubs have their own specific value proposition. Like our club, we focus on anything related to PR, social media, marketing. So not just Toastmasters, right? Like if people want to run their own businesses, small businesses, we can offer value in terms of how to get started in these areas, right? So looking at the value proposition which your club offers, it could be specific to job search, it could be specific to notary. I know we have Daniel in our club who does notary stuff. So looking at these specific value propositions and tying it to people, and maybe focusing on maybe Facebook groups which cater to job posting, or maybe posting it at job boards, or Facebook groups focused on that niche area might help get some new members. So just putting it out there.
Thank you so much. It's a lot of great ideas for grasping for golden opportunities. Mr. Toastmaster, are we to the point where you want to go on to the next segment? Or do you want anybody else to answer at this point?
Well, we're ahead of schedule, Jennifer. So you can probably take about 2 more.
Oh, okay. That's great. Bill's hand was up. I will call on Bill next then.
Well, thank you very much, Jennifer. I think that people need, the reason that people engage in different groups is what's in it for me. They want to know what value they can get. I mean, you know, it's a personal thing. It's probably a narcissistic thing, but that's what it is. And I think what PR Masters does, and to shout out to Maureen, is really just continually promoting what's happening in the club, continually putting out there what the themes of the meetings are, and to get those themes looking really nice in Facebook and in LinkedIn and in other places, so that people, we need to be reminded. We're all busy people. We've got things on our mind. I know it's only Wednesday. Oh my gosh, I got a meeting tomorrow. But if we continually think about what kinds of themes and topics are important to individuals and make it seem as though we're doing it for them individually, they can answer the question, what's in it for me? And they see value in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. That was wonderful. All right, one last person want to throw in a nugget of wisdom for grasping for golden opportunities here? Who would that be?
How about me, Jennifer?
All right, go right ahead. And then you could hand it back to yourself.
Okay, that'll work. I was gonna say, always take a photo, whether it's a screenshot or one with your phone of people either getting a new award, winning table topics, and make sure they're smiling. When you do that, let people know that you're having fun in your club. It doesn't matter if you have 4 people showing up or 12 people or 20 people. They don't need to know that. They just need to know that you're having fun. So really, that's all I wanted to add on top of everyone else, is let people know you're having fun. And I guess there's a saying too, fake it till you make it. So they don't need to know if you're a struggling club, fake it till you make it. So thank you, Jennifer, for that session. I'm going to lower my hand and I'm going to turn it over to my favorite portion of the meeting, table topics. And I'm going to turn things over to our table topics master, Marcy Field. Take it away, Marcy.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. What a delight. And already I'm feeling richer tonight. Do you feel like you've grabbed a nugget or two? Maybe you've even got a golden bar. But I'm going to start with the nuggets. For tonight's topic, table topics, I'm going to continue with this, and you might hear some things that you've already heard earlier today. I'm going to pose this first question to Maureen. Maureen, what can we expect at a PR Masters meeting? And your timing for this will be 1 to 2 minutes. What can we expect? What nuggets of gold can we get at a PR Masters meeting?
Well, for me, there are so many nuggets that I get from this meeting. Top nuggets are the people and things that I didn't expect when we created this club. We didn't expect to have Marcy join, and Marcy's in Canada. We didn't expect Fred to join, and Fred is in Florida. And we certainly didn't expect Maria to join, and Maria's over in United Arab Emirates. That's amazing. Like the opportunities that we don't expect are the ones that just keep coming up. I didn't expect like Adam to show up at a planning meeting and decide to join our club. And I think what I see is the enthusiasm people have for their home clubs and the desire to keep them strong or build them up and learn skills. On the flip side, I learn a lot of nuggets around different tools and different things I could be doing, and maybe I don't have time for them right now, but maybe I'll try it in the future. And I love seeing someone else's success in that tool at the moment. And there's creativity. I have never heard of a club sending personal e-cards to their guests, their members, and that kind of follow-up takes time, but it's impressive. That's an impressive level of personal connection. And that's a nugget that I'm taking from this meeting. So that's what I get out of PR Masters. It's the people, it's the tools, and it's hearing things that, maybe we could do that in the future. Back to you, Marcy.
Thank you, Maureen. I love that. We're all mining here tonight, and everybody's bringing the gold and laying it out. It's like an assessor. You know, when you've got the little gold bags and you've got all the nuggets in the bags and you can weigh it. So who's going to weigh in with the most? And now I'm going to ask Carissa if she would answer my next question. Carissa, What did joining PR Masters do for you? What did joining PR Masters do for you?
Thanks for the question, Marcy. What did joining PR Masters do for me? It put me in touch with people from lots of clubs outside of my own club. And I was so used to just being in my own little home club, which I love, but it's very enriching to have this experience where you can have input and perspectives and meet people from around the world. I'm trying not to echo what Maureen said too much, but it's just so true that meeting people from other clubs, they bring new ideas, or they might remind you of ideas you once had but forgot that you should be doing. And it's an infusion of energy. Marcy, you model this every time in every meeting, and I appreciate it so much. So it's just the contrast between my club and this club, and it's so worth just coming once a month. It's so worth it. That's what I've got. Back to you, Marcy.
Thank you very much, Carissa. I find that sometimes, like so many of us, the rest of us in the room, I feel weary, but I come to these meetings and I walk away energized after I'm here. It's not like you just did, Maureen, you wiped away. It's not like it's over. It's like, ooh, can we hang around and what else are we going to talk about now? And I appreciate that. Just looking at the gold, that's one of the benefits of being a member of PR Masters. Now, the next question I would like to put out to somebody who hasn't had a lot of opportunity to talk yet. I am going to ask he shared. Joe, there you are. Joe, my question to you is, wrong one. That was one. The molten gold being thrown into the fire. How do we learn and grow in PR Masters? How do we learn and grow at PR Masters?
I think it's been said before, but one of the things that I've been impressed with is how we share our expertise at using different tools to enhance PR. There are some things that I knew about already, but didn't know all about, like Fred's speech about photography. I didn't know about the grid lines on the phone camera, and I set that up, and now I have that on all the time, and it's really useful. But there are other things that I didn't know anything about or may not have even heard about, like Canva. And the speeches that we've had in this club about various tools like that have given me a lot of useful information. Some about things that I didn't know about at all, and enhanced information about things that I already knew and had already been using. But little details and extra tools that I wasn't aware of that are enhance my appreciation of those tools. So I think that's what I've gotten the most out of, aside from the fun and the people and the engagement, just the energy from the club. So thanks for the question, Marcy.
Thanks, Joe. I think that Helen Blanchard's quote, which is one of my favorite quotes. Helen was the first female to join Toastmasters and the first female international president for Toastmasters International. And she said, if you get everything out of Toastmasters that you can get out of Toastmasters, you will never get out of Toastmasters. And that is for me, one of the big things that I'm recognizing as I come along on my journey as I go here. Just asking our timer and our Toastmaster, do we have time for one more question? Or
Yes,
we have
yes,
time?
we do, Marcy. We're ahead of schedule.
Wonderful, thank you. I will ask the next question to David Shearhorn. David, what does the club experience offer to people coming in? We've already talked about a few nuggets, but can you think of something else that's unique that our club, the Crown, and I'm thinking of how you shared with us the look of the new Triple Crown recently, something that being a member of a club offers?
Well, Toastmasters offers the opportunity to be immersed in a project, and the leadership portion of it is the one that appeals to me the most. There you have to gather a team, and you have to be persuasive. So you have to develop skills that you don't normally run into until you have that leadership position. And even then, you have to be able to give something back. Nobody's going to join your team if they don't get something. So what's in it for me will be one of the questions, but they probably won't ask. So you have to be able to give something back. So learning to understand how the education program works, so that if everybody can get a little something out of everything that they do. For instance, one of our open house meetings, in a 1-hour meeting, we had a question and answer session and a panel discussion. And that involved just about everybody in the club before it was all over with. And we had 5 guests and 3 of them became members. But the question and answer series, we scheduled it so that everybody got 5 minutes in. Oh, 5 minutes, that's a project. Everybody on the panel discussion got 2 questions, 2.5 minutes minimum each. 5 minutes, that's a project. So we had, I think it was nine people who got education credits in one meeting. So when you work together to bring people together, you've got to give them some of the gold. You can't hoard the gold. You can't be a Midas where everything turns to gold just for you. Share the gold, share the wealth. Back to you, Madam Tabletop Master.
Thank you, David. I'd like to now put it out to our guests and ask if one of them would like to step up and say, do you see any gold in our room that you could perhaps mine? And or what are you looking for that perhaps we could see if we could mine and deliver to you? We might as well all walk away wealthier. Robert?
Yeah. Thank you for that question. So just it's really like a summation of what everybody else has said here. I'm reminded of several quotes. You mentioned a quote from Helen. There's a quote from Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. Right?
Yes.
It's not really true. If you build it, you got to promote it. You got to talk about it, and you got to keep talking about it. Right? So that, that's what I'm seeing here tonight. I'm seeing you guys talking about promoting things, building things that have some enduring value. That's gold. David talked about leaders. Toastmasters, where leaders are made, right? That's not necessarily true. You know what makes leaders? Leaders make leaders. Leaders don't make followers. Leaders make leaders. And so when you share the gold, you're creating new leaders. And that's that's a message I think that we shortchange. We talk an awful lot about the International Speech Contest, winning that gold prize, but there's a lot of people who work behind the scenes. A lot of people join Toastmasters because they're more comfortable working behind the scenes than they are standing in front of the podium, but they have a message to share. They have technical expertise, and they need some help getting that out. And so, you know, in my role as the webmaster for District 7, I'm seeing a lot of these behind the scenes things that go on that people have no clue what it takes to put on TLI. Dozens and dozens of volunteers behind the scenes who are making gold for everybody else. So that's my contribution.
Thank you. I'm delighted to find out that you are a webmaster and you see the work that goes on behind the scenes. I was PRM for District 42, and I served in that role for 2 years, and we rebuilt our website at that time. Huge amount of work that is not obvious to people of what goes on to keep everyone informed. Cheryl, I know you visited us a few times. I'm wondering if you have any nuggets of something perhaps you'd be looking for as you keep coming back.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I'm hesitant to raise my hand because I just keep dipping into this pot of gold so frequently. and I come away from it tonight with just like, let's get signed up, ready to go. And hopefully after the meeting, there might be somebody that can stay on with me to look at that process. But I love the fun and creativity that comes out of this club. I think that's just a human need to be creative. We aren't meant to just live a dull, monotone, rote life. We have like this whole thing up here that is designed to do so much, this powerhouse, and there's so much opportunity in PR particularly, and so much has been mentioned tonight as well, all of the nuggets that everyone's shared. And that's what I keep coming back, because it just stimulates that part of my brain, even though, as like Maureen said, there might be things I cannot take on now, but I might in the future. Refreshers, reminders of things I was inspired by in the past, and maybe now I'm ready to move forward with a project or an idea or inspiration. There's just been so much fun and creativity. Everybody's so gracious and generous in the comments they share and lifting each other up. And there's that phrase of the tide lifts all boats, something along those lines. And I just see that happening here and how people give kudos to each other in their phrases, which is just a feel. It just feels good, just feels good to be surrounded by such generous and gracious people. Lots of nuggets in the technical stuff, as Robert had mentioned, that go unnoticed. Just the agenda, the back of the agenda with the information and the links. And I mean, it seems so simple, but a lot of thought went into that, and it makes it so easy for someone coming in new like myself. Where's that application again? Oh, that's right. I just click on the agenda and it's right there. What's the website? Click on the agenda, it's right there. My time's up, but there's plenty more I could share. So thank you for the opportunity for me to thank you all for what you offer here once a month.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. That's one of the things that is my favorite takeaway from meeting this group of people is the amount of detail and how they are always raising the bar. I just want to leave one last story that I read as I was preparing for this, something that I was unaware of, and I think it's a PR stunt that has lasted through time. And I think as we went back and as Matthew was sharing about our history, what are we going to come? But the best stunts are on brand. They forge a memory that'll be associated with that brand forever. One of the most iconic examples is the Hollywoodland sign, now shortened to Hollywood, erected on Mount Lee in the Santa Monica Mountains in Los Angeles. It was created in 1923 to promote a real estate development, but its sheer audacity and visual splendor made it the perfect symbol for the golden age of Hollywood. It's a PR stunt that its originators intended to last 18 months, but that has endured for nearly 100 years. Thank you for the gold, for sharing your nuggets with us tonight. Back to you, Mr. Our Toastmaster.
Thank you, Marcy. We will now move on to our timers report by Jim for the table topics and hopefully the Dear PR Masters moment. So take it away, Jim.
Okay, I will note that the longest speakers were the guests. Maureen was 1 minute 47, Carissa 117, Joe 122, David 146, Bob 211, and Carol 232. So Carol went 2 seconds over time.
Thank you for that report, Jim. And now I'd like to call on our general evaluator, Adam, who's going to call on our evaluators and our other functionaries. Take it away, Adam.
Thank you, Fred. Happy to. Okay, it's always a pleasure to evaluate such a engaging, fun meeting. So I'll get us rolling. To start, I will call upon the evaluator for Maria's speech, Joe. Joe, do you want to deliver your evaluation speech for Maria?
Sure. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Maria, for a very engaging speech. You had a strong introduction that drew us right in. You have a very friendly demeanor. You effectively engaged the audience with that. You mentioned individual members, which was also a nice personal touch. So you used the personal touch yourself, which was really effective in the speech. You asked questions. You went on to answer them. That was a good way to keep the audience interested and engaged. Your speech was full of useful nuggets of advice for the personal touch. Asking for participation in the chat is always a really good idea to draw the audience in. It's another powerful form of audience engagement. I think you could have allowed a little bit more time to interact with those responses and suggestions. But I think that was a really effective thing to do for this kind of speech. A few recommendations. I think you were a little bit low in the screen. So maybe you could work on being a little more centered in the screen and use more gestures to fill the screen. I'm not very good with gestures myself, but I think you could have used a few more gestures. I liked the little photo down in the corner and your name. That was really, I like that visually. But I thought maybe you could have used a simple slide also, maybe just a single slide to help illustrate your points, the 5 or so tips that you had. I think that would have helped us focus and remember the tips a little. It would have sort of focused those and embedded those in our minds a little more. But overall, I think what made this speech so effective is that you applied the personal touch yourself in your speech. So you illustrated the points you were presenting through your delivery as much as through your words. So I'd give you a gold medal for that. I thought it was a really effective speech, both through delivery and through the words that you used to illustrate your points. So thank you very much, Maria. Back to you, Adam.
Thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I think overall, I think, Joe, you did a really good job of articulating a lot of the nitty-gritty small details, not just the speech content, but looking at things like, oh, the position of the speaker was slightly on the bottom side, or things like this, noticing the fact that the Zoom background had her photo. So really good job noticing the small details, and lots of good recommendations. And finally, good job tying in the speech theme, meeting theme with the gold medal statement. Okay, next let's call upon our fearless guest, Megha, who was put on the spot right before the meeting, and she graciously accepted the evaluator role. So Megha, do you want to talk about Bill's speech?
Thank you, General Evaluator Adam. Fellow PR Masters and guests, it's my pleasure to be a guest tonight or this morning, my time. Mining gold among members. Today, Toastmaster Bill had a mission of connecting with storytelling. And in my part of the world, it is not very common for me to hear a Toastmaster who has nearly a decade of speaking under his belt. So for that reason alone, he had my attention. And of course, I have seen a hint of his gold back at New Horizons. So my attention was hooked. What I really enjoyed about Toastmaster Bill's speech today is that firstly, he brought forth many of the skills that we come to expect and that we should expect from a seasoned Toastmaster. Good spoken pace, slow, deliberate, yet conversational, a very good setup, a nice, simple, yet thoughtful background, simple visual cues. That reminds me of Joe Harper for some of those who are familiar. The small, simple visual effective cues with the key punchlines of his speech. I also really liked that in his speech, what stood out to me is that he brought forth the fundamental qualities that we get from Toastmasters, not just the promotion or the interview, but really the underlying qualities that we all recognize that really is the anchor for us in Toastmasters, which is the real true gold, the originality of people, the authenticity, the laughter, the gifts we get from them, their determination that we see to progress. It was a very good reminder of why we are in Toastmasters. And most of all, what stood out to me in his speech was this admiration and love for his home club, New Horizons, as well as Toastmasters at large. So that quality is what I imbibed from his speech, which I really enjoyed. How could I help him improve? I thought I missed a story. His speech was connect with storytelling. And though he talked about some people, especially Toastmaster Mitchell, who seems to be a legendary guy, but I don't know him. So I wish he had given me a story about this person or about himself, of either Mitchell or himself mining this gold, either amongst members or in themselves, because that story would have given me a real hook, and it would have made his speech even more memorable with a specific example of mining gold, either in yourself or amongst fellow members at Toastmasters. And there was time, because I noticed that the speaker finished close to 5 minutes. So there was a good 2 minutes to develop that story. And talking about time at the end of mine, thank you, Toastmaster Bill Mayer. I feel that you are true Toastmasters gold. It is members like you who inspire members like me to keep the torch burning bright. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster Adam.
Thank you, Megha. Again, really good job articulating a lot of the small details in the speech, which highlighted Bill's speech, the fact that you tied his experience with the fact that he was delivering a quality speech. So things like that really help amplify a lot of those things. And one thing I really liked about your recommendation/feedback section was that it was not just the area of improvement, but a very clear example of what that could be. For example, the storytelling was a little bit lacking, but then you demonstrated that with a clear example of what could have been done. So kudos to you there. And I think you also mentioned gold a couple of times. So thank you for tying our theme into your evaluation. Okay, now I'm going to briefly touch on my overall impression, my overall thoughts on today's meeting, today's session. And firstly, I really want to acknowledge the fact that a lot of what we do really starts before the meeting. So for people who are not aware, we open up our Zoom room 10 minutes before the meeting. And I think Marcy, our greeter, did a really good job of, she's always very energetic. It really just effuses through the room, through the virtual room, and really good job of greeting everyone, asking where they're from, making sure they're welcome. So really good job. Kudos to you, Marcy, for that. Overall, I thought the team did a really good job of tying the theme of membership into the meeting, and it's very timely considering dues are coming up. So good job tying that into the meeting. And special mention to Matthew for his mini little section, precedent section on it was not just membership renewal is due, but he really took this opportunity to give everyone a recap of what have we covered up until this point. So this is really beneficial to people who are like new guests or people who have not attended some of the meetings. That really drives home the value proposition for the specific club. So it really gives people maybe a little bit of a FOMO, a fear of missing out in terms of what they are missing out if they don't join. But yeah, great job giving everyone a recap and really tying the value proposition of PR Masters into the meeting and why people should become a member. So great job there, Matthew. Moving on to Dear PR Masters, always a fun section. Nice play on Dear Abby. I always enjoy Jennifer running these sections. I think she's done it a couple of times, always fun. A lot of great insights, a lot of great actionable feedback for grasping. That was the name? Yeah, grasping. Grasping was tied to gold, I believe, or maybe something of that sort. But yeah, a lot of great feedback for everyone. Really enjoyed that section. And Marcy, table topics, as always, tremendous amount of energy. I noticed that your topics were specifically chosen to tie into the membership theme. That was another subtle way to demonstrate the value proposition of PR Masters to some of our new guests. So kudos to you for that. One thing I really noticed about your engagement with the guests was the fact that it was very subtle in terms of first you ask them, like, is there anyone who wants to step up? And then you really open it up to them in terms of what do you want to talk about? What, like the questions to the guests were a little bit different. Like questions for the members were pretty predefined, exact, direct, but to the guests, you really opened it up and it didn't feel like you're putting them on the spot. So you open it up to let them allow them to talk about whatever they want to talk about. So that was a really great touch there. With that, I think we already talked about the speech evaluators. Kudos to Jim for stepping up and taking up the timer role. Thank you. And Megha for taking up the evaluators role. With that, I think that concludes my evaluation. General evaluation. Back to Toastmaster Fred.
Thank you, Adam, for that wonderful general evaluation report. We're going to move on to Jim to give us the final timers report on our evaluation. So take it away, Mr. Robinson.
Okay, Joe, the evaluators had 2 to 3 minutes and the general evaluator 3 to 5 minutes. Joe was at 2:26, Megha at 3:18, and Adam with the general evaluator was at 4:02. So everyone within.
Thank you, Jim. And now we're going to turn it back over to our Mentimeter master, Maureen, who's going to lead us in a one-word round robin. Take it away, Maureen.
All right. It's fun to have this role. I get to bounce around and do different things in the meeting. And this was a segment inspired by Joe Dudman. And I'm going to pass the ball to the next person, and then they're going to pass the ball. But I want one word about this meeting and what you think of it. So one word that encompasses the meeting for you. The first person I'm going to ask is Alan, and I hope that's okay. I know you're a guest, and if you want to pass, let me know.
I'm okay.
All right, your word, and then pass to someone else.
I'm sorry, I'm not really understanding the requirement. What's the ask?
So what is one word that describes the experience of this meeting for you?
I'm going to be very selfish. I'm going to use a very simple word called lack, and I'm going to explain why. Golden Gate Bridge has no gold anymore, and we are lack of golden nuggets, and I'm grateful to come here and pick up some of them. I can tell you more story next visit I'm coming in. I'm going to ask you to wait for another month. Thank you for having me.
Excellent job, Alan. I will pass this now for you over to Joe, who inspires this segment. Joe, you're up.
Friendly. I think it's just a friendly group, and it's always welcoming and fun. Whatever we end up talking about and whatever the theme ends up being, it's just fun and friendly. I'll pass it on to one of our visitors, Barbie.
I'll just say golden. And I'll pass it on to our timer, Jim, because you're right next to me.
Well, you just said the word I was going to say. So I was going to say gold. How about I pass it on to Carissa?
I think supportive. And I'll pass it on to Bill.
I'm going to say original. One of the things that impresses me about this club and each meeting is how many different people that provide diversity come and share and have so much to give. I appreciate that. And I'm going to pass it on to Jennifer.
Thank you. I was going to say golden, but I will change it. See, I have my little gold bar. To Goldilocks. Not too hot, not too cold, just right. That's what PR Masters is. And I'm going to pass it on to Marcy.
I'm going to go with my last thought, which is focused. I loved how everyone came in and focused on our theme today, and I want to pass it on now to Robert.
I liked what Bill said. There's gold and then there are hills, but it doesn't dig itself out of the ground. You got to go dig for it, man. And I'll pass it on to, who hasn't talked yet? How about David?
Cross culture. And I'll have to go to Fred. I don't think he's spoken.
I'm gonna say engaging, and I'm gonna pass it on to Adam.
Energetic. I think there was a lot of energy and engagement. So energetic, and I'll pass it on to Cheryl.
Thanks, Adam. My word would be valuable. As always is the case when I've have the opportunity to be here. The meeting provides a lot of value, both intrinsic value and external value with the practical tips and resources that are shared. And I will pass this to Maria.
Thank you, Cheryl. The word would be amazing, because every meeting is always an amazing meeting. Learning new experiences and knowledges from everyone tops it all. Thank you. Pass it on to who else? Jim?
Already.
Are not? Oh, sorry.
I haven't done yet. I'll jump in.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to say inclusive. I think it's always great when you have a meeting like this where we get a chance to hear so many voices. Is anybody else besides me not gone?
Mega.
All right, you're up.
I'll say thought-provoking. I think my biggest golden nugget from today was don't hoard the gold. I'll definitely, I think it's the first time I've heard that, and it will stay with me amongst many other nuggets that I've picked up also especially from the table topics responses, thanks to the wonderful setup by the facilitators. Thought-provoking. And I will give it, I think, are we all done?
Did Maureen?
I think Fred is up, and then it'll be back to me.
No, I already spoke.
I lost track. It's back to me.
Yes,
Well,
it is
then
back
that
to you.
All around.
Yes.
Learning. I learn things every time. And then serendipity. There's always a moment before the meeting starts where things are not perfectly aligned. And we want it to be perfectly aligned. And then lo and behold, serendipity happens and it still works out and it's still a good meeting. One of the things I always look for is the VPPR is how can we have takeaway pieces? And frankly, how can we make this VPPR role easier for folks? So our last Mentimeter questions of the day are, use 3 words to describe a gold nugget of PR Masters. The tricky world is in the second question. Use 3 words to describe a golden nugget that others have told you that you have. So often we have trouble tooting our own horns. We had an entire speech about this from an introvert at New Horizons last Saturday. And I love that discussion point, because at a certain point, we actually have to tell people what we do, how we do it, and why we do it, and give a little celebration. So if you would answer these last couple Mentimeter questions, this will be our takeaway that we can put out on our Facebook feed, on our LinkedIn feed, and other people can see and go, wow, we missed out on this meeting. So thank you so much for doing that. And follow those links in the chat, and I will pull them up and see how that goes. Sure. Value proposition, engagement, toot your horn, great voice, welcoming, what's in it for you, focused, new, fun, easy tools. And then I have to see how it works to move on to the next question. Oh, it's still filling. Mining, refined, inclusive, community, friendly, people, thought-provoking, 24 karat, engaging. Now here's the harder one, everyone. That's going to be that next question when you move on to it. Golden nuggets about you. I know, putting it out there publicly. Hear me typing this week.
Okay.
I'm valuable. Yes, we should all feel that we're valuable. Team spirit, engaging, vulnerable, dry humor, commitment. They want to hear me. Thoughtful. This is why people should join Toastmasters. We need to have more of these environments, right? Empathetic, enthusiastic, connector. These are all people I want to hang out with. Prepared. Writing pro. That's a great compliment. Brave. Surprising. Feel free to keep adding. I'm going to stop the share right now and turn the meeting back over to Fred. And thank you for all of these feedback pieces that we've received this evening.
Thank you, Maureen. And for the sake of time, we usually ask our guests how they heard about us, but I think that was pretty much covered in the Mentimeter sessions already. So with no further ado, I'm going to turn things over to our president, Matthew Douglas, who will close us out and greet our guests.
Thank you so much. There's two things that I want to discuss ever so briefly before we hear from our guests a little further. The first one is join us. You know, the genesis of this meeting, everyone, I want you to hold up your hand like this on camera.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had a meeting with fewer than 5 guests ever. That shows you that our PR is working, to me, right? Like, we have great members with great ideas, but we also have great guests, and we have continued to have great guests over and over and over again, which is really rewarding, right? So for those of you who are guests, just thank you for being here. It makes the experience for us so much richer to have new voices in the room all the time. Also, the genesis of this meeting is we're really great at PR and we're really bad at asking. So we had to ask, consider joining us as a member, right? The ask, and also take that back, right? It's hard to do this. We're on Zoom, right? If this was all in person, we would sidle up with you and we'd have a conversation. We'd say, hey, you know, what brings you to our club? And we're so glad you're here and we'd love to have you come. And this is just harder in Zoom. But frankly, we're really glad you're here and we really hope you consider joining us because we'd be richer for having you. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is help us plan. So this is to our guests and to our members alike. The next officers meeting is also a planning meeting. And we have this cadence every month, right? We have one meeting and then a couple of weeks later, we have a planning meeting. And our planning meetings, the next one that's coming up is March 17th. It's an opportunity for us to connect as a team, but it's also an opportunity for us to think about what are the things that we want for our future meetings. We start to lay the groundwork together, not just for the upcoming meeting, but for future meetings as well, right? What are the themes that we're interested in? What kind of speeches do people have in mind? Who might we want to invite as a featured guest to hear from that can bring expertise here for us to be able to experience? And the other aspect of that is I really want to encourage and ask our members to go to Easy Speak to sign up for roles for our next meeting. Make it easier for the Toastmaster to make this whole thing happen. It's so much richer, right, than what a normal Toastmaster meeting would be. We have Mentimeters, we have, you know, ask your question, ask a Toastmaster, we have inventive table topics and all these different opportunities to engage. So it takes, and to Robert's point about, right, the things that happen behind the scene, our meetings have a little more happening behind the scenes. And we very much want to hear from all of you, right? What are the things you're interested in sharing with the rest of us? And what are the things you're interested in learning about? Let's make those things happen as well. I will send in the chat, there is the link to our website. From there, you can find out how to join us for our planning meeting on the 17th. You can find out how to get to Easy Speak if you want to sign up for roles for the next meeting. And you can connect with us online as well.